Start streaming. All right, we're gonna stream. This is an iPhone 6s Plus, and it has half dim backlight. Let me pop out chat. There we go. All right, so this is a prior repair attempt that came in, and I know that lately I've been crying a lot about prior repair attempts. Super true. Prior repair attempts drive me crazy a lot of the time because prior repair attempts show me the sometimes the absolute bottom of the trash can of the industry, and they're just really, really sad. But sometimes prior repair attempts are inspiring, you know, because they show you that folks out there really do pay attention, and they're thoughtful, and they use their brain, and they try to learn. And this is one of those. So I wanted to share with you guys a prior repair attempt, half dim backlight job, and hopefully we can figure it out and get this one finished. Also, because you know, I think it's probably true that something on my desk that I beat my head on for a long time maybe went back no fix, and maybe it found its way to another microsolderer who looked at it with fresh eyes and were like, oh, what about that? And I'd love to know, you know, hey, what did I miss? So, you know, this one came from someone that's fairly well known in the community, and if it were me, I would want to know, hey, what happened? So let's see if we can get this one fixed. So iPhone 6s Plus, like the iPhone 6 Plus, there are two independent backlight circuits. So when you have a half dim backlight problem on a 6s Plus, probably one of the lines is out entirely, and the common cause is just like any other backlight problem, connecting the screen without disconnecting the battery. So let's take a look at this board here and see if we can find what's going on with it. So let's get Microscope and take that away. So here we go, Microscope. So we have I haven't taken the board out, so I'm just kind of looking at it in the housing here. I did take the shield off so that I can kind of get an idea of what's going on, but otherwise this is how this just appeared. All right, so we can see with our visual exam that in the backlight position, so backlight line. Now let's call it that there's four backlight LED strips, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I think anyway. So we're going to call this one, this is 3 and 4. So this is spot for 3 and 4. So we'll call this BL34, and that's what the schematic calls this as well. So what happened here, there's a missing filter, and this is a really typical presentation of backlight damage in the 6s Plus. Filter is gone because it caught on fire. And you can see inside where the pad used to be, the tiny little nub of the trace. Now that trace, this trolls people a lot. That trace, you know, came up, and it used to have the lily pad of the pad sitting on it. But that pad then extended, and it went under this adjacent cap. So right now, this cap is going to be connected to absolutely nothing because it's torn right there. You can see that the kind of this little elbow connection of the trace to the pad, that whole piece is missing, and what we just have is the trace left. So some people will try to solve the 6s half dim backlight where there's a problem in this spot by making a jumper from that cap to a filter and then onto the connector, and that doesn't work because the cap, even though it looks like, and ZXW says, hey, it's on the line, it doesn't really connect to anything anymore. So you'd want to use your multimeter and make sure that you still have continuity from the end of that cap to go back to the filter. All right, so in this case, this is a really tough one to try to fix at this site, because what you'd be on the hook for is you've got to extend that tiny little trace. You got to tap into that, extend to that. Don't touch any of this adjacent ground that's everywhere. get that trace extended up, get a filter there, because we really can't let a 6S not have a filter, or a 6S Plus, because the likelihood that the next time it gets a cracked screen, somebody's going to just try to change the screen without disconnecting the battery and blow the filter. If the filter's not there to pop like a fuse, then you're going to burn up the diode, and that's going to be a whole big thing. So you got to have a filter there. It's going to be really tough for us to put one there. So the conventional wisdom, the first time I ever saw one of these, and I think there's like an ancient video from a couple of years ago where it was like, hey, this is really, really going to be tough. It's all shorted to ground in there and fried together. What about the other backlight line? What if you could use the other side, the backlight line 1 and 2, just use that one line to power all 4 of the LED strips. So power 1 and 2 plus 3 and 4 off of one line. And so I tried that early on when I came across a really, really bad one like this. And I did that by making a jumper solution that connected side A and side B, or side 1 and 2 and side 3 and 4. And that worked. And so now a lot of people do that. But in order for that to work, we've got to have our other side working. So let's check on the other side and see what's going on. All right, so we'll just cruise down here to the side 1 and 2. And we can see that, all right, we've had a little work going on in this area. And what we have left is, this is the position here that the anode filter goes in. And it looks like it's kind of the same thing, like some pretty serious damage blew up the filter. And I can't even see in here anymore. I can no longer even see the remnant of the anode line trace, which tells me that it's been covered up with like a black UV epoxy, which is great. I mean, that's fantastic repair. That was covered up, tidied up, because there's a jumper in the area to make sure that that can't accidentally touch ground, which would, you know, be a big problem. So that's really nice. And then over here we have our other pad that's just kind of hanging out, and the filter is nowhere around. All right, so then we've got a jumper. So here's the idea that, all right, if both of your filters are missing, then you're going to need a jumper. And so you could take a jumper for, in theory, you could take a jumper for either one of these sides. Go back to the meat of the circuit where you've got the chip and the diodes and the big cap. Run a jumper of your anode line from the chip area all the way out here, put a filter, and go through to the connector. And that, in theory, would work. And so it looks like there's a jumper here that was trying to do that. Now, I only see a jumper on one side instead of on both sides, which says, hey, I bet whoever did this prior repair attempt was aware of my test point workaround, which I absolutely love and have done many times. So the test point workaround... Whoa. I've been talking all day long. Hope I can get through this video. Let's look for it. Aha, test point workaround. There it is. Let's go ahead and look at ZXW to see what this, how this all kind of goes together. So let's get ZXW. And ZXW is going to show us, and we'll look at the schematic as well, but see, here's ZXW. So ZXW is going to show us that, here we go, PPLCM backlight 3-4. So this is side 3-4. Remember, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So side 3 and 4, LED strip 3 and 4 in the screen, arrives here at the connector. There's a little cap there. It goes through the filter, and then it is going to end up over here at this cap. And then we should be able to find it wrap around the other side of the board. It has 2 diodes, one diode for the selfie flash, the other diode is for the backlight line, and it goes to the anode line of the chip. Now this chip is called U4050. So U4050. U4050 is for backlight line 3-4. All right, now here's the thing that is cool about this, is that here at the connector, there is a test point. So from the connector, there's the test point. It's as if this test point in our mind's eye was sitting right at the connector. So in fact, we could even put a filter here on the test point and go from the filter, we could go all the way back here and we could connect it to the cap C4053 and restore the line that way. And that would bring back one of our backlight lines. The other one, let's look at the other one. So it's really, really similar, but not 100% similar. So here's our other line. So this is PP LCM backlight anode. And we'll call this 1-2, the 1-2 line. The other one's 3-4. So this one is similarly goes to its own filter. And then from the filter, it goes over here to this cap. So this cap is C4023. So C4023, same as in the 6S, C4023. And then it wraps around the board, and we have its main diode, its selfie flash diode, and its chip. Now, its chip is U4020. So they're both together, U4050, U4020. One is backlight line 1-2, and the other is backlight line 3-4. All right, so here's the other little neat part is that if we click back on that third pin there for backlight line 1-2, we can see that it also goes to a test point. So if let's say that we were actually had a big giant, burn like we really do have here at the backlight 3-4 filter, that's just gone, annihilated, and we're not even going to try to fix it. Then in theory, you could say, well, I wonder if backlight circuit 1-2 could power both sides of the screen. Could I actually just make a wire that came from backlight circuit 1-2, which would look like this, right? So that circuit, let's say it's intact, everything's working. What if you could just run a little wire around the connector and plug in on the other side? So you would just be kind of like tying or extending that line over to plug into the other side of the screen and light up those other two LED strips. And you can do that really easily by, instead of having to actually run a jumper wire around the connector, all you have to do is to make a jumper from this test point across to that test point. Look at that. It's the same thing as making a little jumper around the connector from test point to test point. So if you have backlight line 1-2 intact, driver's working, diode's working, your cap's working, no short to ground, everybody's good, everybody's working, everything's totally A-okay, then that line, the 1-2 line, really will power both 1-2 side and 3-4 side if you make this little jumper. And that works. I have a video on that from a long, long time ago, and I've done that a lot of times. Now here's the catch, and this is where I think that this prior repair attempt kind of went by the wayside. And I could be totally wrong. Maybe I have no idea. But this is what I think right now, looking at it. I think that from my experience, there came a day where the 3-4 line was good, and the 1-2 line was like really, really, really badly damaged. And so I thought, hey, I know for sure that the 1-2 line can power both 1-2 and 3-4. So I'm just going to do the little jumper. I assumed that the reverse would also be true, that the 3-4 line could power 1-2. Both of them all together. That 3-4, if that's working, that it could power 1-2. And here's why. Let's look at the schematic and say, is there really a difference between the BL3-4 side and the BL1-2 side? Let's take a look and see. So let's go to the schematic and like ask that question. All right, so here we are at the driver chips. All right, so we see that we have LCM BL3-4, so it's named 3-4. So this is the 3-4 side. 3-4 side, let's from now on think of the 3-4 side instead of BL3-4, let's think of it as the weak side, or the master and slave. This is the slave, right? So this is the weak side. 3-4. All right. And then let's think of 1-2 as the beefy, meaty, strong side. Doesn't even need to say 1, 2. It's just assumed. This is the dominant side. All right, so now let's compare. Why would one be weak and one be strong? So let's see. Let's look for differences. All right, so the 1, 2 side here, the anode line. All right, I've got these two caps, C4023 and 4022. Now on the weak side, I've got, it's the same thing. It's a 10 microfarad cap, C4053. They're identical. That guy is identical as well. How about these diodes? Let's look at the number of the diodes. The 4050 side and the 4020 side, they're identical. What the heck? Let's look at the coils. The selfie flash coil and the regular coil, selfie flash coil and the they're identical. There's no real difference there. All right, let's look at, VCC main plugs in to both of these. Let's look at the cathode lines. All right, as far as we can tell on the dominant side, 1, 2, cathode lines seem identical. Like these should substitute for each other. There's no strong and weak one. They're the same. What the heck? All right, so who can find the difference? This will be interesting. I'm going to leave this here. I want you guys to keep looking at this area and see if you can come up with anything that is a difference. What's different? I'm going to check on chat and see if you guys can figure out what is different. All right, let's see. Hey guys, how often does iPad Rehab stream? When iPad Rehab feels like it. Let's see. Passes Jessa a lozenge. All right.
What I can provide for you is pictures and videos.
Paul Daniel says, fairly sure that the weak side is used for when you want the ultra low backlight intensity for night viewing, where the beefy side would result in noticeable flickering at low PWM percentage. Maybe. All right. Resistor to ground. All right. Paul Daniel says the coils are different. L4050 is higher microhenries but lower current. Is that true? Let's see. The 4050 side is 15 microhenries, 0.72, 0.9. And the other coil is 15, so that's the same, 0.72, that's the same, and 0.9. So they're the same. They're the exact same part. Now there's two coils, and you can see with 15 microhenry and the 1 microhenry, and my understanding of that, or my guess, and this is kind of this is a question I ask course people to figure out every single week. So I'm not sure that I want to say too much. So we'll stick it in the middle of a video. Maybe somebody will watch it. That when I look at this is identical in every way, even the names and numbers of these parts and pieces as the 6S. So the 6S, this is the same. Now the 6S and the 6 backlight area are really similar to each other. However, I mean the coil is the same, the diode is the same. The 6 does not have this little 1 microhenry extra little coil, and it doesn't have this extra little diode. It also doesn't have on the driver chip. If you stare at the iPhone 6 driver chip, it doesn't have this trig inhibit section. Everything else is a match. It doesn't have this. Now what the hell is this? Muon BL strobe? Strobe? LED driver? What the heck is a strobe and an LED driver doing at a backlight chip? Now, that doesn't make any sense. But if you think about it, what's different between the 6S, where these appear, and the 6, where that does not happen? 6S, 6, any kind of difference on backlight? The word strobe? Selfie flash. So the 6S has a selfie flash where it's not really a flash, it's just a brightening of the screen. So my impression on what's up with that is that the little extra coil, it's a baby coil, the 1 microhenry boost coil, and its companion diode are just there to in that when you need to do a selfie flash to get that extra burst of voltage on your backlight line to brighten that screen up to give you a flash, which is extremely innovative. I love that. That's like so fantastic. It's fantastic. All right. Okay, there we go. Alex, knows the answer. Alex says the I2C line, the I squared C lines. Yes, so if we compare the 4020 and the 4050, I mean, this is all the same. They're like, you know, copy paste. You know, they're completely identical twins, except for right here. All right. So this is I2C channel 2, and that is on U4050, and then this one is I2C channel 0. So I2C channel 0 is the main one. So there's a different communication, and we don't know what the message is, you know, but there's a different whole communication channel for the weak side, the 4050, you know, BL34 side, you know, so we could kind of guess or make an argument, I guess, and I'm not really sure how this would work out. And maybe you guys could really put some thought into it and think about it. I just want to kind of do an experiment and then get the hell home. We have to have a whole meeting on website, and I need sleep tonight for sure. So hopefully you guys can chime in with the comments and really kind of spell this out for me. You know, how does it work that, you know, the dominant backlight driver can power both sides of the screen if you tie the anode line, meaning that all 4 of the cathode lines come back and get to ground. But if you only ask the weak side, the 3-4 side, if you say, hey, 3-4 side, power both, it can't, and it will always only give you half dim backlight. So it's like one side is just not lit up at all, you know. So either the voltage that the 3-4 side produces based on the I2C communication is too low to power both. I don't know, that sounds kind of weird. Maybe it's that the cathode lines are have to actually be connected to ground by some activity through the chip. I'm not sure. So hopefully you guys can figure that out. And all right, so figure that out. Let me know what it is. And in the meantime, let's go back and look at this board. So now that we kind of get an inkling that from experience, learning the hard way, beating my head on one for a long time, many moons ago, happy to share what I learned that tough day is that although it can always work when you ask, you know, the meaty 1-2, can you power both sides, 1, 2, and 3, 4? Sure, bro. And you'll get full backlight. And then it'll never come back. It'll never get like overtaxed or burn out or anything like that. It'll work forever. But if you do the reverse and you say, hey, side 3-4, 3-4 side, that little top side, 3-4, can you power both? They'll say, no, man, I am too weak. I can't do it. I am just side 3-4. I can't do it. So that means if you ask 3-4 to power both sides, that's not going to work. Now, when I first looked at this board, remember this is a primo, high quality prior repair attempt, the kind that make you proud of the industry and happy to see folks learning. And if we look at that, let's go back and look at it. Go away this, go away that. At first, when I looked at this, I thought, well, what's the deal? He's left 3-4. This is the 3-4 side. He's left that off. Good. He's got the jumper. You know, jumper should work. Good. All right. So, and then he's got, you know, he's connecting over here to kind of solve the fact that the 1-2 side, the strong side, that's where he's bringing the jumper from back at the chip area and the big cap. He's coming from there to the good side. This should work. Why is this not working? So it wasn't until I took off the shield where I said, all right, let's just kind of make sure. If we look at this side here, the 1-2, the strong sides, here's 1-2. 1-2 side goes through the filter to cap C4023. So this is the strong side, C4023. From the strong side driver, strong side cap, out to the strong side filter. That's the strong side. So we got to tap into C4023. Weak side, the 3-4 side. The weak side goes over to the weak side goes to the other cap over here on the edge, which is C4053. And now we can kind of get an answer on what I think is where this fell off the rails. So we can see, making it look like ZXW, that he did go for the strong side is the one he was going to fix. He did make the jumper to ask the strong side to power both. He made the jumper to ask the strong side to power both the strong and the weak side. But, if we follow this wire back, it needs to go here. It needs to tap into the strong side, 40-23. But instead, he takes it over to the weak side. And it's so clever. I love it. Like, it's just really nice work. You know, he's got epoxy on here. He's got his black UV curable mask that kind of covered all that up. I took some of it off a little bit to just check on the jumper. But this is really nice. That's epoxied down. And he's even got the little filter. Look at that. It's so cute. He's got the little filter soldered in there. That's a really clever way of doing that. I know... you know, it just means paying attention to lots of people's ideas, all right? And then I can see that there's, you know, when it didn't work for him, then I can see how he would think there's just a lot of variables, because there's some long screw damage. It's probably not doing anything, but there's long screw damage there that looks pretty significant. There's long screw damage here as well that looks pretty significant. I don't think that actually is going to do anything on a 6S Plus, but it would be something that you'd notice. And then it looks like there's been a connector job here that might have been kind of like the last ditch thing. Like, let me just throw a new connector on there, and I can see there's some, you know, there's some cold joints like this one in that connector, but those, you know, that really shouldn't be part of the problem either. So this connector has a couple of cold joints, but it still has touch, so that's a little bit of a mystery why that didn't cause a bigger problem. So, what does this mean? Let's see. Let's see if I'm gonna be on the hook for doing like 2 hours of half-dim backlight troubleshooting, or if what I think is true, which is only the strong side can power both sides, which means this is gonna work as long as we take this jumper and just move it over from the weak side to the strong side. That's gonna work. Let's see. Let's see if that's true. All right, so let me get the, want to make sure I'm on the right side of this cap. So we've got ground side, so the not ground side of the strong cap is right here. Alrighty, jump from weak cap to strong cap. That is my plan. I'm gonna jump from the weak cap to the strong cap. Alright. So let's see if it's as easy as that. Oh, teeny weeny filter. Alright. Ben Nash watching live from the hospital bed. What's wrong with Ben Nash? Why are you in a hospital bed? I really don't think you're like having a baby. But, you know, what do I know? Alright, let's see. Got a bunch of phones to fix. Sounds like Paul Daniels has easy stuff. Jealous. Send us your easy stuff. Mark and I need easy stuff. I have no idea who Mark is talking to up there. It's so sad to like bust up this adhesive.
And I crushed it under engine hatch in a boat. So the foam looks like this. The alarm's still.
All right, how's Underdog, Jessa? Underdog is doing fine. I lost a battle with Underdog the other night where he was just scratching at the bedroom door. Hey, how about you get up out of bed in the middle of the night? Let me in so that I can, kind of like snuffle and snore all night long, kind of keep you up. How does that sound? And I was like, you know, Underdog, I'm really kind of tired. I'm kind of liking you not being here right now. And he was like, well, I'm not. And so he just sat there and he scratched at that door for, I don't know, something like 30 minutes until I'm like, okay, you win. You win, Underdog. All right. Too much background conversation noise there. Well, there's a customer and 3 team members over there, and I can't control them. And this is either going to work or not. So we'll be out of your hair in a minute. All right. So let's see whether or not this works. And if it doesn't work, then we're probably going to have to take this board out and put some more thought into it, and I am not going to have time for that right now. So let's hope it works. Probably should have at least kind of, in fact, I'm not going to put power into this without checking it to make sure I didn't create any kind of a short. Let's check on that, just because I don't want to smoke anything. Whew. Alright, so let's pop this out. Alright. Alright, diode mode over here is 0.476. And same on both sides. Okay, that's what we needed to know, that we didn't accidentally somehow create a short to ground. So let's see. Do we still have half dim backlight or no? All right, we're gonna prompt the boot. And let's see, it's the moment of truth. No backlight whatsoever. Yay! Hey, Mark. Mark.
Oh, nice.
Totally called it.
Yeah, good job.
It was really funny though, because this came today when we're in the middle of teaching, and I walked back to Mark and I was like, hey, Mark, prior repair attempt, you know, guy that we know, what do you think is going to be wrong with it for a 6S plus backlight? And he was just like, you know, he said it was going to be something that was like no image or something that wasn't backlight at all. And I'm like, nope, it's going to be trying to make the weak side power both sides. Totally called it. So that was super fun. All right, so there we go. And you can see through the phone. Ah! All right, so there you go. This one is solved. And I think I'm going to fix up that connector a little bit before we put this back together. Then we'll put on some epoxy that's not going to be nearly as nice as the first guy. He definitely did a better job on that. We'll put a shield back on there, fix up that connector a little bit, and then this one will be good to go. And I wanted to do this video just because I wanted all of you guys to know, you know, that we love the success stories, and we love teaching people, and we love seeing more and more folks being able to do repair at the local level. And I know that that's why, you know, our customers come here and they learn at Practical Board Repair School, and then they stop sending us stuff. I get it, you know. We're dying for easy stuff, but it warms my heart to see the thoughtful prior repair attempt. I mean, that was clever. That's paying attention to so many things. It's paying attention to, hey, you know, you can put the filter by the cap. That's paying attention to, hey, you know, you can kind of make a jumper at the test points. It's paying attention to, you know, the tools that are out there, the wonderful epoxy, the, you know, the black UV curable stuff, isolating that ground, really thoughtful stuff. And I love the thought and the effort and the technique that went into that repair. And, you know, I think it's totally reasonable. I know it trolled me the first time I ever thought, of course, side 1 and side 2, they're the same. I mean, they are the same. Other than that one letter, channel 2 versus channel 0, you know, they are the same. So it is a surprise. It's a surprise to me that one side can power both, but it's not vice versa. So there you go. So hopefully you guys don't get trolled on one of these half dim backlights. And good job to you other repair shops that are out there doing good work. I'm so proud of you. Keep it up, and we will talk to you guys later.